Okay, this is section 4.6, inequalities in two triangles, 429, page 145, talking about the hinge theorem and the converse hinge theorem. The observation in the example above is true of any type of triangle and illustrates the following theorems. The hinge theorem says if two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another, and the included angle of the first is larger than the included angle of the second triangle, then the third side of the first triangle is longer than the third side of the second triangle. In other words, this right here is like a hinge, okay, at angle A. You got that side equal to that side, this side equal to that side. This hinge is wider, 43 degrees, than this hinge, 30 degrees. So its opposite side, the third side, is longer. So we would say that this side here, BC, is longer than this side, GH, because this angle opens wider. If the angle opens wider, it's going to have a longer length here. This angle is shorter, smaller angle, and therefore a shorter side, opposite shorter side. That's the idea of the hinge theorem. So the converse says the opposite. So if you have JL congruent to PR, JL and PR, and you have KL congruent to QR, then PQ is greater than JK. PQ, all right, PQ right here, this length is greater than JK because it's open wider. See, the hinge right there is open wider, so that length is going to be longer than that length, JK. And the measure of R is going to be greater than the measure of L. Why? Because that length is longer than that length right there. Okay? That's what the hinge theorem says. So now let's do a couple examples. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more on this so you might be able to see it better. Hopefully it'll clear. Okay? So in this case, we want to compare the given measures. What is true about WX and XY, the things in orange? So we know it says the triangles are congruent. Not they're congruent. They can't be congruent because the angles aren't. WZ is congruent to YZ, WZ and YZ, and XZ congruent to XZ by reflexive. And we know that this pink angle right there, 55, is greater than this green angle, WZX, 51. Therefore, by the hinge theorem, this is going to open wider. Therefore, this length is longer. So XY, okay, XY right here is going to be greater than, and they write it less than. So they say W, I guess that's right, WX here. What's true about WX and XY? WX is going to be less than XY, or you could say XY is greater than WX, whichever way you want it. They do it in that order. Okay, same thing over here using the converse idea. So we know that that side and that side are equal in yellow. We know C and FC are congruent because they're reflexive. Therefore, if that side is 3.6 and this side is 3, then C, this measure of angle C, let's do it FCD. FCD, okay, not C, can't call it C, you got to call it FCD by 3 letters. So the measure of angle FCD is less than BCF, okay? Now they write it BCF, see? They write it the other way now this time. BCF is greater than DCF, and they name it DCF instead of FCD because this side is longer. So you got to think opposite there, okay? Next, down here, the last two examples. I'll try to get it square for you. All right, so the question is compare the lengths. Now, it already gives you the answer there, but let's look at it. What's true about JK and MQ? Well, here's JK and here's MQ. The sides are equal there and there. The angle's 72 and that angle is 61. So by the hinge, that's going to hinge wider. So that's a wider hinge right there. So a longer length right there. So we'd say JK. This is a shorter or a smaller hinge, 61 degrees. So a shorter side opposite. So we're looking at opposite the hinge. Okay. So we say that JK is going to be longer or greater than MQ. Okay, because this angle is greater than that angle. All right, let's look at the inverse here. So it says that what is true about SRT? Here's SRT in orange, and here is VRT in green. So what's true about the two? Well, we would say that SRT is less than VRT because you can see this side opposite, this one right here, opposite this length is 6. So that's less than opposite that length, which is 11. Now understand that these two are equal, these two sides, and in red, these two sides. There's your hinge right there. Okay, the angle between the two congruent sides, that's your hinge. So that hinge is going to open less, therefore that side's less, therefore the angle's less. So that's the inverse. So if this side is more, the angle in between the two congruent sides happens to be greater because 11 is greater than 6. Okay, any questions on that? Let me know. Have a great day.